Well, that's good work, class, but we'll call it there for today. Keep working on your laughs, and next week we'll all get together and do them at an orphanage.
Maybe I can sound human next time.
Welcome to Big Damn Cast. Fuck you. My name is Chris. How many more of these, Johnson?
My name...
Coming up, we've got your emails to respond to, some whiffles, waffles, and dickery, but also Batman discussions. Or, are they really going to go there? Yes. Wait until you see. But
we haven't seen it yet, by the way.
No, as of this recording, it's not a thing we've watched, which means that everyone who's read the title and got outraged by it should now go, oh!
Yeah.
Oh, wait, hang on, what are you...
We're going to discuss the Batman, but we have not seen the Batman.
We got you. You've got to stick around now to find out what we're fucking talking about. And if you want our review of the Batman, spoiler-free and spoilery, come back next week.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not going to give it to you, but come back and, on the promise that you'll get it.
We'll give you something. Give him something.
Must we?
But first off, Matt.
Yeah.
A new Marvel legend.
What?
Has begun.
What?
Have you seen the final unquote trailer for April the 1st, and I wish that was a joke, Morbius?
Oh, God, no.
Well, have you seen the first two trailers for Morbius? Have you seen the first two trailers for Morbius?
Yeah, I wish I hadn't.
Well, guess what? You've seen the third trailer for Morbius.
They moved it to April the 1st. Are they fucking kidding?
That's when it's coming out, April 1st.
Are they asking to be mocked?
I hope so. Because it now stars, freaking award winner, Jared Leto. It's...
I wish I would have stripped him of visual awards and beat him to... No, I can't say that.
No, you can't say that. Beat him to fuckery.
Beat him to fuckery with him.
You can say that. Say that. That's fine. That's acceptable.
That's me crawling out my skin whenever Jared Leto speaks at an award ceremony.
You're obviously not his demographic, which is
okay, yeah.
young ladies he prays
Sure.
on his island.
I'm obviously not his demographic, which is cult.
Culty boy, the pipes are calling. So, the final trailer for Morbius is intriguing for a couple of reasons. One, it heavily features Keaton, supposedly as Adrian Toomes, egging Dr. Morbius on to becoming who he was always meant to be. And I'm like, wait, hang on. If this is the same Adrian Toomes from the MCU, what the hell's he doing? Like, Adrian Toomes of Spider-Man Homecoming wasn't a supervillain. He wasn't like, oh, I like being horrible, I like being evil, you gotta embrace your true nature. Like, that's not who he was. He was just a dude trying to screw over Stark's company and Damage Control because they screwed him over. He just wanted to basically do a few big takes and then split.
Listen, this is obviously a variant Adrian Toomes.
Well, is it? Does Keaton know that? Remember when Keaton was interviewed about it 3 years ago and he went, I had no fucking clue. I just showed up and said the words they gave me and called it a day. It was like...
Now that's
wow.
What an award-winning actor does.
Is it?
Yeah.
He's a thread in a lot of today's topics, so we'll get back to him. The trailer also remembers Matt Smith's in this fucking movie.
Who's Matt Smith playing?
Matt Smith... Oh, let me find his name again. I think it's Hunger. But it's like it's a.
Sorry, his name's Hunger.
I think so. I need to double check. It's a character from the fucking who wrote the majority of Spider-Man in the 90s and shat the bed with it. Howard Mackie.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's
Mawad Haki.
Mawad Haki. It's a character from that era. He's Loxias Crown, aka Hunger, created by Howard Mackie, debuted in Spider-Man Volume 1. Number 76 in 1997, because all of these villains are villains that Avi Arad tried to put on lunchboxes.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Yeah,
either his civilian name or his villain name.
He was an agent of Hydra who basically worked for federal agencies undercover, and then eventually becomes a living vampire himself.
Cool.
So it's carrying on with the Sony Spider-Man thingy of, oh, the villain's just the hero, but looks a bit different.
Cool.
They're carrying on with that, like Carnage, Riot. Oh, it's just the thing, but look a bit different. Oh, okay.
That is a red one. That is a Matt Smith. That is a Matt Smith.
Like, I feel good for Matt Smith in the sense that finally it's fucking acknowledging him, because like the dude was cut from The Rise of Skywalker.
Did he even film anything for it?
He recently clarified he did not, but he did do makeup and costume tests. But he doesn't know what else he's allowed to say, and he doesn't want to risk getting told off by anybody. He
Very strange.
was in Terminator Genesis and got a character poster, and then was in the film for about 3 minutes and had like 2 lines of dialogue.
If that.
And he just knocked over that water bottle with his mind, which is weird.
Matt, can you hear me, Matt?
Can you hear me, Matthew Smith? Can you hear me?
Daddy loves dick.
Fucking hell. Oh, Sam. What's Sam doing now?
Sam!
Oh my god, could you imagine if Derek Okora passed away and then moved to the same spiritual plane as Sam? And Sam was like, no, I wanted rid of you. No, we're tied together, Sam. We're tied together, you and me. Mary loves Dick. Derek loves Sam. For our US and Australian listeners, look up Most Haunted. You're welcome.
www.100yearsdereklovessam.com
100 years, 100 seasons. Derek loves Sam. Mary loves Dick. Mega seeds, Sam. You got to shove them up your ass. So I feel good for Matt Smith that he's finally getting some actual acknowledgement, and it's weird that a sci-fi fantasy franchise wasn't going, hey, you remember Doctor Who, that one you really like? Well, here he is. He's in this thing. It's weird that they've not done that yet.
It is weird that they've not done that.
Up to this point. I also feel bad for him because he's in Morbius. So, yeah. This film, I'm holding out hope, as we do with all movies, that we'll be surprised and we'll go, do you know what? They actually had something to say. And as a man who really likes that character in comics, and I like him as a villain.
I would love that.
I love his solo. Yeah, I love his solo stuff from the all new, all different era. Midnight Suns. I don't think this is going to work.
No.
And I want to be proved wrong. Yeah, I want to be proved wrong. But
it doesn't mean I have to watch Jared Leto, though.
Jesus. Well, you keep your eyes on Michael Keaton, as we did stress.
Right, so I'm keeping my eyes on Michael Keaton.
Because Michael Keaton posted an Instagram photo.
What did he post an Instagram photo of?
This past week.
What of?
From the set of the movie he's currently working on. Do you know what movie he's currently working on?
Oh, is it The Girl Bat?
It is the Lady Bat woman, but not that Batwoman.
Oh, is that the sequel to Lady Hawk?
Nope. Oh. So, from the set of Batgirl.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
3 days ago, he posted a dubbing suite photo, a Hollywood lot, and put little A. Toombs work today. So I guess he's doing some post-production. I mean, the fact that he's just openly going, yeah, I did some stuff as Vulture today. I'm guessing that means he's done some
ADR for Morbius.
ADR for Morbius, yeah.
Seeing it's supposed to be out in January, do you think they've done some last-minute tweaking?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They've looked at the reaction and gone, oh, shit.
But he's been in Glasgow for the past couple of months working on the Batgirl HBO Max movie. And the other day, he decided to tickle everyone's testes by posting this selfie. Now, there's like archetypal selfies that people post. The straight of themselves, duck pouty one. The group shot kind of thing. The faking a thoughtful shot that someone else has taken, but it's clearly just me holding my arm out while I'm looking away from the camera kind of shot. The often forgotten art of shadow selfies isn't that special. Where you just take a photo of your shadow on the ground.
That special.
Fucking is when your shadow's that. When your shadow's a goddamn batsuit. Yeah. That's him in broad goddamn daylight, taking a photo of an outline that looks all too familiar.
What is the Batman doing out in broad daylight?
Kicking ass and fighting
He should be at home, washing his tights.
But Keaton also cropped up because once again the Beetlejuice sequel rumours
Beetlejuice
have. Well, I've got one better, I think, but it's done the rounds again because Brad Pitt's production company have optioned it and are moving forward with it. And the rumour mill, of course, rumour until confirmed, is that Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton have been in talks to be involved in the project.
Listen, I love Beetlejuice, but why? I rest my case.
Or in the famous word, if anyone's ever wondered or just forgotten why we say this, in the famous words of Kevin Smith when talking about his brief encounter with the Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian spec script in the 90s, says, "Didn't we say everything we needed to say with the first Beetlejuice? Must we go tropical?" Because Beetlejuice, for those who don't know, if you've not seen it, Beetlejuice is a Tim Burton movie from the late 80s that is fucking amazing. You should go and
wonderful.
watch it. It's pure, unfiltered Tim Burton original recipe filmmaking, story style, art style. It's about a couple played by Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin who, spoiler alert, for the first 10 minutes of Beetlejuice, die in a sort of accident on a car crash on a bridge and then return home. Except they're not there, really. They're spirits. So they have to learn about what to do now that they're in the afterlife. How
Well, they
to
are
interact with
there,
people
but they're
around them.
not there.
Yes. And specifically, have to try and get the family of this bougie arty family that's moving in out of their old house.
The awful bougie Dietz family.
The Dietz family, except for their strange and unusual daughter, Lydia. So they decide that they're going to learn how to haunt, and at first they seek the assistance of a poltergeist for people.
A human exterminator. Bioexterminator.
Yes.
Bioexorcist.
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 I was like, I mean, I'm sure those letters are correct.
There's something.
Bioexorcist. Beetlejuice, played by Michael Keaton, who's this horrid, ghoulish creature who, once they realise, this is probably a bad idea, they shake him away, but he's got his hooks in. He's a little obsessed with this situation now.
Dionysius.
So he sticks around to cause chaos.
Yeah.
What follows is just a really fucking great movie with a really good performances all round, but a really good central performance from Michael Keaton as the titular antagonist of the film. In the 90s, after a successful animated series and some successful video games, and the character being in like theme parks and like always getting a really good reaction at theme parks around the world, Warner Brothers were like, "Let's make another one." Tim Burton was like, "I'm busy doing those Batman movies you wanted me to do." And they're like, "Okay, well, don't release Happy Meal toys of a pervy penguin man or a leather-wearing Catwoman with a whip."
Wait, too late!
Oh, shit, but will you at least sort of produce or keep an eye on our sequel idea for Beetlejuice? And Tim went, "Yeah, sure, whatever, fine."
Tim went, "Nice fucking tree!"
Hey, Tim. Nice fucking model. You okay there, Tim? It keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian was the script that did the rounds for ages, which saw the Dietz family buying and then running a fucking resort in Hawaii, and then ghosts start bothering it. So because they know of ghosts, they try to get in touch with Beetlejuice to deal with it. You know, the guy who tried to forcibly marry their underage daughter at some creepy wedding in the finale of the first movie.
I don't think you need to bring the Dietzes back in a Beetlejuice sequel.
No. Oh god, absolutely
You have
not.
another family dealing with Beetlejuice.
And I hate the idea that Lydia Dietz has had to deal with this fucker. Now, the reason why I think people are more open to it is because, like with the real Ghostbusters, a lot of what people who grew up with Beetlejuice think of is the cartoon,
in which
where
Lydia
they're
and
busy
Beetlejuice are busy mates and going on adventures and shit all the time.
Yeah. And the musical, the most recent adaptation of it, has taken a similar-ish path. There's a bit more of they're two peas in a pod who kind of gel a bit more. The story's a bit more about their side of it. What normally happens in the film in the later second act, third act, is a bit more of a central focus. Because I guess for the musical, they wanted to sort of open up the sentimentality a little bit and not make Beetlejuice just an out-and-out villain and creep. They wanted to sort of make him a little more likeable. Which, fair enough, whatever. But the original source material is not, you would not have Lydia actively be like, "Yeah, I'd work with him again. I'd summon Beetlejuice. The guy who tried to fucking marry me when I was 15. Yeah, alright, sure, let's go." So it's no one needs Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, and no one needs a Beetlejuice sequel per se. That being said, the climate that we're in is one where people are going, "Oh my god, Winona Ryder, I freaking love her."
That's true.
"Oh my god, Michael Keaton, he's the best."
He is the best.
there's like this resurgence in appreciation for those two actors, thanks in no small part to things like Birdman, Dope Sick, Stranger Things. Like, there's been projects where the two of them have been in and everyone's been really getting behind it. So I see why there's a renewed interest. If they have to make it, please, for the love of fuck, if you're stylising that title, put the number 2 after the BEE. And then replace the T with the number 2.
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice. There you go.
That sounds like a Home Improvement spin-off. Beetlejuice.
Oh, God. Betool-timed. Wait, what? Bejeweled.
I prefer Beetlejuice.
You prefer Beetle everything.
That's true.
Speaking of Michael Keaton.
Beetle breakfast.
Again. It was the SAG Awards last week and stuff.
SAG.
He picked up an award for Dope Sick and he was drunk as fuck.
I've not seen this.
It's fun. It's just he's
fun.
done it before. He's gone to many an award ceremony where he has won or picked up an award on behalf of a production and he's been off his tits. Good on you.
Why not? Live your best life.
Speaking of Michael Keaton's tits,
Mr. Keaton.
his rubbery tits, his nippleless rubbery tits. The Batman's out. By the time you guys listen to this, it's either coming out tomorrow or it's out now. And it's the latest adaptation of Batman because we need another one of those.
Kill
And
the Batman.
I mean, I can be this facetious and sarcastic. There is an actual cowl behind me.
There is an
on
actual
the shelf,
cowl.
so no, it's with love.
As opposed to a casual owl.
Several actors have played Batman.
Several
In the last decade alone.
Several have done it on the same film. It's not always Affleck.
Several actors have played him on the big screen.
Yes, it's true.
Several have played him on the small screen, but we're not talking about that.
I mean,
several of them have played him on the straight to DVD and the video market. We're not talking about that either. And we're not talking about the goddamn serials from the 40s because I have no access to those, so I can't talk about them. But do you know what I can talk about?
What can you talk about?
Rob Bat being the latest Batman.
Fuck off.
And we don't know which direction it's going to go. Like, early reviews are in. I've looked at a couple of spoiler-free ones that keep it as vague as possible. Talk about the movie.
Seems to be fairly positive. So
yeah, he seems to be apparently the least exciting thing about the film, and not in a he's bad, just in a it falls in the trap of every other Batman franchise, which is, are these villains really interesting?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh great. Namely Kravitz and Farrell. With Dano,
probably because
with Dano stealing the show, but every review I've read so far being super vague on any details about him because they don't want to spoil why he's so good. So it's like, okay. I think suffice to say, the latest clip that's been doing the rounds of him in the coffee shop is like the Zodiac, the movie. Never just mind the actual murders.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting now, and I'm like, okay, I see what you've done. I think they're hiding a lot from us in terms of the Riddler stuff. We've only seen one dude duct taped to a chair.
It's true.
And he is the main antagonist without a doubt. Like, he's the villain. Cobblepot's an obstacle. Catwoman is an obstacle / ally. So, yeah. Typical Batman.
I think the problem with Batman is that the older I get, the more I see him as some sort of right-wing not right-wing, but like sort of right-wing war on crime adjacent power fantasy for rich white dudes.
There's a very conservative angle to it. Yeah. As journalist and podcaster Mark Bernard said before, like, Batman definitely comes from old money, and there is a lot of conservative white privilege in that angle, usually in the States.
You'll never be like us, Gatsby. We're old money, old as balls.
But Old as Balls is the adaptation of Batman. This is just the latest in a long frickin' line, and I think we're both pretty excited about this movie by this point.
I think
we're curious enough that we're like, here we go.
I would like it to be good. I'm prepared for it to be average. I don't think it'll be bad.
I know, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes is fucking stellar.
They did Slap. They did Slap.
What was before that? What was Matt Reeves' one before that?
Hello, my name is Matt Reeves and I'm the director of...
That's not the name of his film.
Did he do Cloverfield?
Yes! Cloverfield. The first Cloverfield's fucking fantastic. 10 Cloverfield Lane's even better, but they're completely not related, really.
10 Cloverfield Lane!
Could you imagine Dan Trachtenberg doing like a GCPD precinct under siege from a supervillain kind of story?
Yes.
Make it happen, Hollywood. Lots of people play Batman on film. We can't talk about our Bat yet because we've not seen him. But we can talk about every cinematic Batman that there has been so far, either in their own franchise, single movie, or series.
Okay.
I would like us to discuss each of them in order.
Starting with
The late, the great, the nobody messes with, Adam West. Adam goddamn West. You cringed at that. Not Adam West, you cringed at the Family Guy reference. Yeah, but if it weren't for Family Guy, there wouldn't have been this weird Adam West renaissance in the 2000s. Where people started to reevaluate like the immediate assumption that he was just this corny actor from the show that everyone hated, apparently.
Adam Goes West!
Somebody's been stealing my water.
Adam West.
I fucking love Adam West.
Love Adam West.
He was wonderful.
It's just a completely different kind of Batman to what everyone is used to now because of, in a post-Frank Miller world,
Yes.
it's a hard sell to people who don't have an appreciation for things being very silly.
If anyone's listening to this right now and thinking, yeah, that Batman's daft in it, can we introduce you to something, a really simple concept that everyone who ever revisits it without actually watching it seems to miss out? It's a comedy show. It's a sitcom. It's got adventure stuff in it and bad guys and peril and cliffhangers. But it's a comedy show. It's a live-action Hanna-Barbera cartoon. It's a fucking Scooby-Doo. It's a Wacky Races. It belongs in that family of like,
I
genre.
feel like it's more of a Captain Caveman, personally.
How dare you? Bruce has much better hygiene and cleanliness than Captain Caveman. Thank you very much. And he doesn't hang out with a gaggle of pretty young women. He hangs out with a pretty young boy.
It was pretty and pretty young.
And also pretty young and used to get laid all the time because he was Robin. Burt Ward.
Good lad!
Burt Ward made the most out of it. Can you imagine, compared to now, being in a timeline, a point in history where playing Robin got you laid?
Yeah, it works so well for Chris O'Donnell.
The 60s, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, probably did. I don't know.
It was everything he did after them.
The way he wrings that towel out like a ninja.
that golden period between Batman Forever and Batman and Robin was really successful for him. After that, well, we'll get to that.
Adam West starred, of course, in the TV series from 66 to 69.
He did.
But we're talking about Batman the movie.
Batman the movie.
The 1966
Isn't it just like
motion
5
picture.
episodes of the show edited together?
It was divvied up into episodes for syndication.
Right.
At one point in time, but the movie exists in a little limbo. So Batman was made by, essentially, rights-wise, what we know now as Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers claimed all the DC stuff at one point, bought DC and made it part of their family. We're talking like in the 80s, 90s when that happened, wasn't it? But the movie was distributed... Oh, the TV show was played on a Fox network, and the movie was distributed by Fox. As a result, the movie has been available on VHS, Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray for years. The TV series, only as recently as about 7 years ago, has been available for home media as digital releases, Blu-rays, DVDs. So the memory of the show has lasted for a lot of people because of syndication. The show repeated on American television and European TV networks for decades.
Yes.
I had watched, in my early 90s childhood, I had watched episodes of Batman.
Yep.
Because Channel 4 or someone had the repeats for a while here in the UK and they would just churn out a couple episodes a weeknight and stuff.
Me too, bud. So,
the only time I ever got to choose what Adam West Batman I was watching was the movie, which a friend had on VHS. That's what we're focusing on. The movie, for distribution early on at some point, syndication was cut up into 4 or 5 episodes. But it's not counted as a season. You won't find it in a box set. You'll always have to buy them separately nowadays when you go to purchase them. The movie is basically a giant bumper episode that gives you much more of the length, gives you a Batman love story, although it's a subterfuge.
It's lengthier.
Miss Kitka.
It's girthier.
You harm one hair on her head. It's just
a complete. You have to come at it with a completely different expectation to modern Batman. And if you do, you'll have a great time.
It's the Hush of 66.
It's silly Batman.
Because 4 of his villains team up.
Yeah.
4 of them. Now, some of the villains had been seen together at the same time in episodes before, but very rarely, and it was never like a big deal. It was never a team up. This one, Catwoman, the Riddler, the Joker, and the Penguin all team up on a goddamn submarine.
Yeah.
And hatch various nefarious schemes.
It's ridiculous.
All in the names of turning the UN delegation
into dust. In this universe in which you can reduce a person to dust, and then as long as you put the right dust back with the right moisture, they're fine.
But if you don't, they end up in each other's bodies by accident. Which is how the film ends, with Batman and Robin realising that when, like, you know, the Russian delegates yelling in French and the English guys yelling in Japanese, and they all just, like, Batman and Robin just... This is how the movie ends, the motion picture, Batman the movie. They've got the wrong combination, everyone's come back in the wrong body, and they both just, like, back out of the room.
It's a sitcom.
It's so good!
It's not like a serious action movie drama. It is... It's not a parody.
No, absolutely not.
But it is a comedy.
Like, so the comics started out dark and broody and detective stories and murderers and serial killers and all that, you know, gangsters, mobsters, that's what it was about. And then the villains started to get a little bit more colourful. Then the comics code thing hits in the 50s and screws everybody over. Batman, one of the remaining DC comics, sticks around and becomes more colourful and wacky and zany. The TV series goes, we like the detective stuff, and we think the comics are a bit too weird. Let's, like, meet halfway. Let's make a comedy show about a detective superhero. Let's just do that. And that's what it is. If you are a young kid, it's thrilling as hell. And Batman is, like, the coolest guy ever. And you are safe with him. You want to be him. Or you want to be with him. Like, it's one of those classics sort of like...
Do ya?
Men want to be him. Women want to be with him. And all that stuff. And it's like, come on. West is suave as fuck in that. He's playing comedy. He's doing Leslie Nielsen later on patented straight man
this
comedy.
Is very true.
But he's a suave looking dude and was at one point during that run considered for James Bond. Back when James Bond had been a Scot and an Australian, and there was no weird, like, he has to be British. The actor has to be British. They were considering an American. They were considering Adam West. Like, there you go.
Now,
like,
that would have been an interesting project.
And I thought Christmas only came once a year. I'm leaning into the Ralph Garman Adam West impression here, but it's worth it because it's funny to do that weird inflection at the end of the sentences, which he does do.
He does do it.
He does do it. Batman in this, bit of a doof, but it is a comedy show, so of course it is. However, got the gadgets, man. You've seen the Batmobile. 60s Batmobile's fucking sweet.
You've seen
sweet
the
ride.
You've seen the Bat Shark repellent.
The Batmobile that's coming up in this new movie.
Yes.
The closest equivalent to it in a live action movie to this point is the Batmobile from 66. Because like the 66 ones was like a Cadillac. It's like a smooth, suave ride that's been modified.
Yeah. This
one's a muscle car. Both of them literally are something that you could see parked on someone's drive and not bat an eyelid until you go, wait, hang on, what was that? And you look back. He's got Robin, which gives him a bit more of an advantage over a lot of the other Batmen on this list, because he's actually in the package, the proper package of Batman and Robin, because they're not fucking pussies. Like, he has Robin.
I mean, the whole universe is more brightly coloured anyway.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So Robin fits better.
And, like you said, the shark repellent bat spray.
So good.
The Batcopter is full of repellent sprays for various dangerous aquatic mammals and fish.
The Batcopter. Not the Batboat.
Not the sub. The helicopter. Because that's right, a shark grabs onto it. Have you seen... Right, have any other Batmen in the cinematic canon fought off a shark and lived?
No. You know why? Because I've known Batman directors, and they're all cowards. Do
you remember that bit where they get magnetised to the buoy, which is going to explode? And the buoy's going to be hit by a missile from the submarine, and a porpoise blocks the missile and sacrifices itself to save them. I love this movie.
I don't think it was on porpoise. I think it was an accident.
Fuck! No, because it's the fact that no other Batman movie can say that there's a bit where Batman gives a speech about a noble porpoise that sacrificed itself.
No other Batman movie has you not being able to get rid of a bottle. Wait.
Do we give West, or what should be the yay or the nay for this barometer? Batrometer.
2 bat ears, one bat ear or no bat ears.
Oh, so like great, good enough, not good.
I want even one bat ear.
I'm giving him the 2 ears, man.
You give him 2 ears.
Why are you going for 1 ear?
Because as much as I appreciate it for what it is, I just don't enjoy the comedic tone of the 66 as much as some others do.
Fair enough.
I get it, but it's just not for me.
Fair dues. Whereas I
have
am
no
a soy
with
boy
it.
beta cook, so I'm giving him 2 bats.
I have no
I'm
problem.
virtue signalling, you see.
I have no problem with Batman 66. I am glad that it exists.
Yeah.
I just don't like it.
It's not your
as much as
Batman.
Some people do. It's not my kind of Batman. I don't want my Batman to be super grit. We'll get to. But I don't. It's like it's not that I don't. It's not that I hate that it's silly. It's just that I prefer it to be a little more serious.
It gets 2 from me because it's a Batman that brings me so much joy.
I mean, it is joyful.
And as a result, like his performance in that film, and then obviously the show, but we're not talking about the show, we're talking about the film.
We're talking about the film.
Is a big part of why I enjoy it. I get that's a film where like if it's one of those where it's like you've got a long Sunday, you've got some work to do, like you need to get some stuff done, like laundry sorted, or like you got some writing to do, or whatever. And you just want to stick someone in the background. Stick on Batman the movie.
Stick on Batman.
You'll be in such a good fucking mood.
The movie.
And West is a big part of that. For me, it's 2 ears. You give him 1 ear.
I'll give him 1 ear.
We move on to the next cinematic Batman to get a cinematic release. 1989.
It's the big one.
Tim Burton's first and then second Batman movie in 92, Batman Returns.
Well, I have gone on record as saying that Batman Returns is the best Batman film.
And I've gone on record as saying, you're okay to be wrong. I'm not going to judge you. But yeah, I mean, I think our 2 favourite Batman movies belong to this Batman, because Batman 89's probably my favourite Batman movie
Batman
still.
Returns.
It's Michael Keaton.
Keaton.
Look, he's back! He's back in the podcast!
Michael Keaton's Batman is awesome because he's not like super hench,
Yeah.
and he's not like inapproachably aloof and super intelligent, but he's calm and collected and thoughtful and weird.
We never get into his head.
No, we never get into his head. He's inscrutable.
He's observed by either other people or we observe him in a voyeuristic way.
But
he's never the main character of either film, so we never get to see inside his head.
But he's shown to be like approachable and likable. Like he's odd, but people like him. And
much like Adam West's Batman, time appropriate in terms of the tone and the approach.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like Adam West Batman was in that era where TV was, like it's a live action Scooby Doo. Like that was the sort of thing they were going for, so that the whole family could watch together. Young kids would thrill at the exploits of their adventures, and adults would piss themselves because this is really funny. And then for generations afterwards, teenagers would hate it because they just never really took a moment to consider that it was meant to be funny. Keaton's Batman's coming hot off the heels of Dark Knight Returns, The Killing Joke, Legends of the Dark Knight, like all this sort of era of the comics where it's getting, Watchmen has basically turned the world around on like, oh yeah, comics, they can be for adults, right? It's like, yes, they're for everyone, every age.
My ideal Batman is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But this is more towards the middle than like Reading Year 1 is.
Oh yeah.
Because
this does it with a wink.
Oh yeah.
There's a wink and there's a camp to Batman and Batman Returns that.
I mean, it's in black rubber with sculpted on muscles. Like it's not Christopher Nolan. This is not.
No, it is gothic.
It is gothic.
It is darker, especially Returns. Returns really leans into that.
But it's gothic like a Hammer horror movie. You know what I mean? It's arch gothic.
Yeah, it's like if the '60s show's approach wasn't bright and colourful, it was dark and gothic.
Yeah.
Although obviously it takes its content a little more seriously, and it's not played for comedy, though there is totally levity in it, and in Keaton's performance. This is a Batman who does kill.
He does kill.
Because he's a Batman born out of like the 80s action genre.
Yeah.
We've just spent the last decade, if you're watching it in '89, watching like Schwarzenegger murdering 1,000 people over the course of Commando. Like, you've had your Stallones and your fucking Seagals and like all these actors who go through these movies where it is cops and robbers, playground logic, cowboys, and oh my god, this game we're playing is actually racist, kind of like it's that that's where this movie comes out of. It's at the end of that decade,
absolutely.
So there is an action figures smashing together element here of I'll just throw this dude down the bell tower. Fuck it, why not? He's fighting the bad guys.
Dong, dong.
I say this. Batman, in the comic interpretation and the version in my head and what most approaches nowadays go for, like with Doctor Who even, that central character, Batman in this case, shouldn't want to have to kill anyone.
No.
And the whole point of what makes them brilliant is they always look for the better way, the better solution, the right solution. But like Superman and others, if that's the only way you're going to save the day or do the objective, end of this film, for example, like he's trying to rescue Vicky Vale from fucking the Joker. Like, not from fucking the Joker, he tries to blow him, but from the Joker at the top of the bell tower, right? Yeah. Which as a kid, never realised that's what was happening. Never realised that's what was happening. I thought she's just kissing his suit. Yeah. Oh, now she's kissing his lapels.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You haven't answered the devil in the pale of my life. That ending scene's so good. But, like, he's trying to get to Vicky Vale. There are a bunch of heavily armed psychos all the way up that bell tower who are just shooting Uzis at him, not giving a shit. If the only way to get one of them out of the way is to just you kick grab him with your legs, swing him into the bell and drop him down the tower, so be fucking it. Yeah. Like, fine, whatever.
He could hit something soft on the way down.
Yeah, you never know. There might have been a bat mattress at the bottom.
Battress.
A battress! A battress twixt the buttress.
Oh, God.
But, like, you know, I don't mind it in Batman so much because it feels of that era, of that genre of action movies. It just feels like part of it. There's a tonal dissonance.
Well,
it's a video game.
They don't make a point of being like Batman doesn't kill.
Exactly. It's not established within that world.
Yeah.
And no innocents get hurt because of him as well. Like, no innocent gets attacked or thingy because of something he's done. It's all stuff the bad guys do, which is played for horror. Like, when the bad guys kill people, when people are dying in the gas attack at the parade, it's played for horror. But, you know, when you see the newsreader, like, dead on the floor after the new improved Joker product have fucked her up. She's on the floor with a rictus grin, stone cold dead, like, eyes are dead, just staring ahead. That's played for horror, because it's the bad guys doing horrible things. The good guys, I'll just come in and kill the bad guys, I don't give a shit. Now, is that wrong? Of course it is. But it was born of that 80s action genre. That's where it belongs. It's playground pretend fighting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take me out of it too much. The only one that ever does a little for Keaton's Batman is played for a comedy beat in Returns, but because he does it less in Returns, he takes less life and there's less wanton destruction from Batman in Returns. The one moment where he really does stands the fuck out.
Good.
The bit where
it's so good.
Because like, again, on a Batman level, it's like there definitely was a better way than what he just did. He sticks dynamite, the evil clown from the Red Triangle Circus Gang. What a weird name, the Red Triangle Circus Gang. Has got like dynamite, and then he's like, oh, Batman, who glares down at Batman, smiles at him. Batman looks up and like smiles at him. The guy's like, wait, what? Looks down, the dynamite stuffed in his pants. Batman just fucking kicks him into a sewer, open sewer.
It's the sense of humour.
Yeah, it's a Looney Tune.
It is. It's a Looney Tunes bit
moment, but it is like, wait, did he just? If we look into that sewer grate now, is that guy's guts just hanging open in the sewer?
He'd be looking up with a blackened face.
Exactly.
Like
there'd
Wile E.
be soot all over him, and there'd be smoke coming off of him, and he'd be like, what? As the GCPD swoop in and handcuff him.
Exactly.
So I don't mind it. I can see why people always point to that moment of, he kills in this, but it's like, watch those two movies again. They're late 80s, early 90s, 80s action cheese. Yeah. Keaton is
that smile.
It's the smirk on his face.
Good.
It's the bit toward the end of Returns where he's like, oh god, where he's in the bat boat, and he's zipping down the sewers toward like the lair, and like the penguin missile ever goes past him, like the penguins, and he just sort of. Keaton can't move his head in that costume.
No.
He can only really, when he's sat down especially, he can only really use his eyes to emote.
Yeah.
These eyes that are like framed by dark paint.
Yeah.
Thick paint on his face. Mm-hmm. And he just gives this slight head tilt and look behind him for a second of like, fuck was that? And then just carries on. And the film doesn't stop to do it.
No.
He's just the fuck. It's so fucking good. And that's what's wonderful about his performance. It kind of highlights the absurdity of the whole thing without the world. Like, the world takes itself seriously. The world of Burton's two Batman movies takes itself seriously.
It's just not a serious world.
It's not a serious world.
No.
Exactly. It takes itself seriously, but it isn't a serious world.
In the same way that Batman 66 does. It takes itself seriously, but it's a ridiculous world.
Yeah, it plays itself completely straight, but the world itself is not straight.
No.
Same with this one. Except for Keaton, who just has these little moments. These tiny little moments where you see him being like, okay.
Yeah. What have I got myself into?
Just, oh my god. And the little bits where, like, he's just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, Alfred brings him the soup and returns.
Yeah.
In the cave while he's studying the thingy. And he's like, thanks. And he just takes a spoonful, he just spits it out, and he's like, soup, it's cold. It's vichyssoise, sir. It's supposed to be cold. And he doesn't skip a beat, he just goes like he doesn't make this noise, but he goes, right, and then just starts eating it. The soup he just spat out. It's so it's like he's just sort of going like, oh my god, wait, oh right, yeah, fair enough. And then just carried on.
Yeah, he's on another planet.
He's
on another planet.
It's magical. I mean, he gets as well, like, so obviously, you know, Adam had Burt Ward and everything. He's got his version of Gordon and, you know, Chief O'Hara. But, like, so who have we got in terms of, like, this Batman's kind of thingy? We've got Michael Gough as Alfred. Michael Gough as Alfred as his constant companion. Gough is, I think, still to this point. Sorry, Andy, we'll wait and see for next week.
Yeah.
I think Michael Gough's still my favourite Alfred on screen.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Like, Kane does some phenomenal work, but, like, something about Gough's presence. It's like the comic book characters just appeared in a film and gone, where do you want me, Master Wayne? Like, it's like he's just arrived.
But then he's also got stuff like the really sweet moments, like when he's talking to Vicky in the first one over breakfast about. No, it's at night
after
before he
the
goes
dinner,
to bed, yeah.
And they get sick of the Putin-style table.
Yeah, so they go and eat in the kitchen with Alfred.
Yeah.
And then he's telling him, like, telling us stories about when Bruce was a kid.
Yeah.
And it's really sweet.
You can see that Alfred cares very deeply for this Bruce, even though, unlike other Batmen, we really don't spend time getting to know this Bruce.
No.
We just sort of observe him.
Because he is sort of unknowable, because he's so odd.
I mean, there's even moments we go, no, seriously, why is he doing that? Like when Vicky wakes up after they've had their night of passion, and he's just hanging upside down from a gym pull-up in a door frame.
Yeah.
You're like, why is he doing that?
Moving
on.
Some people do that. Some people just do that.
We're just moving on, guys. Moving on.
That's a real thing that some real people do.
He's a Batman who is all about the mission.
Yeah.
So much so that he doesn't really play the playboy. He puts on the events. He makes an appearance, and then he fucks off to the Batcave.
Yeah.
Like, it's like when you first properly meet him, you see him a little bit at the party, and then it's when he goes to talk to Knox and Vicky Vale, Alexander Knox and Vicky Vale in the the Hall of Armor, which again, the film giving you his backstory without really explaining it.
Yeah,
like Vicky Vale, because we've talked before about that movie. Vicky Vale and the Joker are the main characters of that movie.
Yes,
Batman's just in it. Batman's the mystery that Vicky Vale's trying to crack. Meanwhile, Jack Napier's story's happening, and then the two stories come to a head. And hey, Kurt, think about the future. But like in that scene, like we learn through Vicky Vale later about the death of his parents, which of course people who grew up watching the '60s show might not really know about.
No,
the show mentions it, but obviously they never go like, here's the horrific backstory.
We don't get to see
Vision.
the flashback.
So like this is the first time as well, so this gets a pass. It's not done.
And then everyone does it.
But like Vicky does the thing where she reads into the Wayne murder because of course it's been forgotten about. It was like 25 years ago. No one gives a shit about it. So she has to go back in this made in the 80s but sort of set in that wonderfully obscure, is it the 30s? Is it the 50s?
It looks like it's the 30s or 50s, but there's modern technology, for the 80s technology.
Modern for the 80s technology, but all of it presented in a more of a retro fashion.
Yeah.
The clothes are very 80s, and yet the Art Deco and the sort of the suits and costumes are a lot like... So the mobsters are dressed like classic mobsters.
It feels retro.
Yeah.
Well, the mobsters are dressed like classic mobsters until the Joker comes on the scene, and then they're all dressed in like 80s jackets with Joker logos on and stuff.
Patchwork trousers and bomber jackets and shades and berets and shit. And like Vicky Vale learns about the backstory, but like early on in the movie, Knox and Vale are just in this Hall of Armor in Wayne Manor having a chat about it. Like, look at him, he must have been king of the Wicker people. And that's all you need. And he says like, oh, it's Japanese. And Bruce comes in and he's like, oh, it's Japanese. And he's like, how do you know that? It's like, because I bought it in Japan. Sorry, Bruce Wayne. And it's like, there we go.
It's so disarming.
Yeah, but it's the whole thing of like him going, oh, I bought it in Japan, and you getting the sense, obviously knowing it's Batman. Of,
That's such a great line.
He's totally done the training, hasn't he? He's done the training, and he's gone out there, done the training, and bought that fucking suit of armor to show off. Yeah. So he has an alibi.
Yeah.
So he's got an alibi for why he's disappeared over here for 7 months, or why he went here for 5 years, and why it's like, oh, so beautifully done without ever actually saying it. Looks great in the Batsuit, man. Like you said, it's a rubber sculpted thing, and then in Batman Returns it has a bit more of an armor look to it, like it's a bit more rounded.
And it's armored in this, but it's more it looks like rubber.
Yeah, Batman Returns, the Batsuit matches the shielding for the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Which features in that movie.
Such a cool effect. Dated as fuck now, but such a cool
dated as fuck, but like the beauty of stop motion and early CGI is that the directors of that time shot to make it look as good as it could be.
Yeah.
So while some early CGI, once it exploded in the mid-90s, looked shit by then standards, but we were all just going, oh, wow, how did they do that? I've never seen anything like that before. And I look at it and you go, yeah, I wish I'd never seen that. Oh my God. Because of the way this stuff shot and lit and used sparingly, it still looks good, and it fits this fantasy gothic world. You get some fun villains, obviously, to fight. Joker, Penguin, Catwoman. He gets a nice take on those to battle, and and you get different. You get mobsters. You get a boss, Carl Grissom. That Batman never really gets to tangle with, but obviously the Joker takes his empire, and Max Shrek.
How could you make Batman Returns even more Tim Burton? You put fucking Christopher Walken in it.
In a fright wig and name him after the actor who played fucking Nosferatu. It's like, what? And then cast his son, who's just basically doing a Walken impression.
Just ridiculous.
Dad, come on. You're like, oh my God, he's doing an impression of him. Do you think he asked him? Do you think he asked if that was okay? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do an impression of you because I'm your son. Okay, fine, sure, I don't care.
Sure.
Mea Cobblepot. Keaton's great, and there's a reason why people are excited to see him coming back in The Flash. Because the notion of him playing this character again, and seeing that weird, very capable, definitely flawed, but very capable.
Just odd. Odd man.
Like, he even though the world's fantastical, he feels like, this is what would happen if a billionaire was like, do you know what? I'm just going to cover myself in a rubber. I'm going to cover myself in a rubber suit and punch muggers.
You know why he's frightening?
Go on.
In a way that the Nolan Batman's supposed to be, but isn't. He's very still.
And part of that's down to the costume restriction, which he just owns. He goes, all right, okay. I'm going to move in an inhuman way. I can't turn my head easily.
He's very
so my
still.
whole body's just going to swivel. And I'm going to stay in a position. That bit where the spotlight hits him at the Axis chemicals in the film? Where he just sort of like turns into the spot. And it's just so inhuman. Yeah. But immediately it's a silhouette. It's like, shit, that's a comic book cover. Look at him.
But there's no superfluous, because he couldn't make any superfluous, but there is no superfluous movement. It's just... He's very stiff and still. It's like a spider. He moves when you're not looking. And scuttles.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And it's just the film services him well.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that's the template that a lot of the adaptations since have chased to some degree. Yeah. Even unique spins on it for the time, like the Nolan take and everything. Obviously, the Schumacher ones were originally set in the same continuity, although now it's being made more clear that, oh no, that's a separate continuity, fuck it. But the Schumacher films, even they were like, I'm going to change the way this world feels, but fuck me if we ain't going to use that as a template. Yeah. Because it worked, man. It worked. And part of it as well is down to Adam West's version being the most commonly associated one publicly, and then the non-comic book reading public are hearing about what this Dark Knight Returns book apparently is really good, and they start to get a sense of, Batman's apparently a bit cool and a bit dark and a bit scary. And then they get a movie where that's the case. And, yeah. Do I wish we'd got to know this Bruce Wayne a bit more? Honestly, yeah, I do. Do I think it actually services it better for it to be so restricted from us? Yeah. It's two ears.
For reasons...
2 pointy bat ears.
Which we'll get into very shortly.
Yeah.
2 bat ears.
2 bat ears. Two freaking bat ears.
Val Kilmer.
I feel so bad for Val Kilmer's Batman. Because...
I see where he's going with it.
Yeah.
And he's pitching it in a very similar way to Michael Keaton.
Yeah, I mean, he's directly following on. Like, Batman Forever was meant to be a Michael Keaton starring vehicle, directed by Joel Schumacher, produced by Tim Burton, but as soon as Keaton realised that Tim was not directing, he sort of used that as a... And he was standing up for Tim Burton a bit as well, because Tim Burton had essentially been, like, quietly pushed out of this project when Warner Brothers were like, oh, we got so many complaints from families about that last one, so we need to make it lighter. Oh, I'm not sure about that idea, Tim. Oh, I don't know. Because I think originally, didn't he want to do something with Man-Bat in the third one?
Possibly.
I know that came back later, like for the proposed 5th one and everything, but I know there was... Tim wanted to sort of stay dark, but be a little bit more fanciful. And the studio just like... Here's when Tim went, I'm just going to step away and do this Mars Attacks film. I really wanted to do. I've been pre-proing on Sleepy Hollow for ages. I want to focus on that.
Batman Forever is a really weird movie.
We both really fucking love it.
I like it a lot, but...
I love it.
It is compromised.
Yeah, oh Christ, yeah.
And
it's got one of the laziest supervillain performances in a comic movie ever in the form of Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Tommy Lee, really fucking good Jones.
I mean, it's still eminently watchable because it's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, but he's just playing a laughing psychopath in a Two-Face costume.
The problem is Val Kilmer's pitching it one way and the movie just sort of undermines him.
Yeah.
Every turn.
Kilmer's following Keaton.
Yeah.
Like, you could easily... If Batman Forever was a Burton movie, but Keaton didn't return for whatever reason, and Kilmer was playing the part, I would buy that this was the same Batman.
Yeah.
But we're now just getting to know him more.
Yeah.
Because what this film does, and what I think this was a Schumacher decision, and I think Kiefer Goldsman worked on the script for this one. He definitely did Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
But like, this movie makes the brave decision to be the first Batman movie that's actually about Batman until the final edit, removes a lot of that. Because in this film, Batman's sort of... He's lost sight of why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And you realise through his relationship with Dr. Chase Meridian, played by Nicole Kidman, who's like going for it in the sort of comic book archetypal.
Is it Chase Meridian or Meridian Chase?
Dr. Chase Meridian.
Okay.
Dr. Chase Meridian.
Try fireman, let's take off.
This is a great name because it's like, wow, so is that character from the... Let me just look into the... Nope. Literally just fucking made up the movie.
Made it up.
Fair enough, but also like, that's such a comic booky name. Why don't you just use it? I don't know if she's been retroactively adapted like some characters tend to. I can imagine at least one Batman writer's gone, yeah, go on, I'll have a psychiatrist.
You talking? I'm going to check. I'm going to check.
But he starts seeing this psychiatrist because he's having these horrific dreams. And as the film goes on, he realises that he's repressed his memory of the night his parents were taken from him. So, like, the film's suggesting, which lends itself to it being a sequel to the first two, that he's lost himself in the mission. He's lost himself in the Batman.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne is sort of disappearing piece by piece. And though he appears at a lot more functions in this. Like he appears, at the opening. You've got the opening of a fucking envelope in this one.
Yeah.
But like, he's at the circus, you know what I mean? He's at like he's going to Wayne Tech to look at the invention, like the invention patents wing, which is where Edward Nygma's based, and we meet Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler. Like he's a lot more hands-on, but he's sort of on autopilot. He's very polite. Like he's not just sort of walking around going, "Hi everyone, yeah, fine, whatever." Like he talks directly to people. He says to Eddie like, "What you're doing, like, is incredible, but ethically, morally, I can't co-sign this. You need to rethink it." You know what I mean? And he's not like horrible to him. He's just like, I'm sorry. You can tell that he's saying to him basically, You've invented this thing that taps into brainwaves. It's incredible. You've got lost in what it can do. You're not thinking about what it could do to people. So, stop. Focus on something else. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, he's not nasty, but obviously Edward Nygma in this is played as quite a dangerous individual who's very unhinged and doesn't take rejection well. So, oh God, and later on when Carey, like, as Nigma, when he's successful, just starts looking like Kilmer.
Yeah.
Like at the big gala for the
Yeah.
launch of the, what's it called? The Box.
The Box.
Like for the launch of the recent one, Nigmatech.
This is your brain on the box.
This is my brain on the box. Does anybody else feel like a fried egg? It's like the joint most quotable Batman movie with Batman '89.
Yeah.
It's just so quotable, and a lot of it is just Carey fucking around.
Which I think is also to the detriment of it. Like when he's good, he's great.
Again, like with '89, thinking of it as an action film from the end of that genre, this is Jim Carrey at his most fucking peak superpower world global superstardom moment. Like '94 is the triple bill that makes him a household name worldwide. Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yeah.
95 is Batman Forever,
Yeah.
which like solidifies him as a global superstar. So it's like peak of the Jim Carrey powers, and he is homaging Gorshin. There is a lot of Gorshin homage from the '60s show in there, but it is also a very Jim Carrey performance, which can work against it if you don't like the Jim Carrey performance.
I think for the most part, it's actually pretty good.
I dig it in that. I think it works really well, and the fact that he's overcompensating compared to Tommy Lee Jones just phoning it in. I'm like, good. I'm glad one of you turned up. But the only scene where I enjoy both of them completely is when Riddler first appears in Two-Face's lair. Because Tommy Lee, you can tell, we've told the anecdote before, but like he did not like Jim Carrey. He could not sanction his buffoonery.
It's true.
And you can feel that in that scene where Two-Face is, of course, fucked off that this dude's just showed up in his lair. You can feel it. And as a result, the performance from both of them is really good. The only other bit where Tommy Lee Jones is actually good is at the very beginning where he's monologuing to the security guard. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, that's really creepy.
It's true.
Yeah, it's also really weird because it's like, should be Billy D. Williams. But anyway.
It's boiling acid!
Fucking that guy. My glasses! Fucking old Velma.
But yeah, right off, you've got a completely that opening action sequence feels so different.
Because the Dutch angles are back from the '60s TV show.
Weird angles, like weird gadgets.
The neon starts to show up.
Neon everywhere.
Two-Face's gang have like masks split down the middle, so you've got red and blue. Because like they were henchmen in Batman '89, but like you said, berets, leather jackets, puffer jackets, bomber jackets. In '92, Batman Returns, they're all creepy circus creations straight out of Tim Burton's sketchbook.
Yeah.
In this, uniform bad guys. Like, this was video gaming before video games were video gaming, like, to
with, like, neon swirls on their Tommy gun magazines.
And they're all, like, hench as fuck and wearing, like, leather waistcoats.
Yeah.
And just flashing greased-up arms. And then by the time Batman and Robin, you're like, oh, Joel, bless you.
They're very dehumanized as well. Like, they speak in, like, broken sentences.
Yeah.
And like,
especially Batman and Robin. Christ, Freeze's henchmen like
it's
are
very,
just sort of
very odd.
putty patrol.
But
like, but the villains change the genre of the film enough that Kilmer's portrayal gets lost in the film somewhat.
Oh, totally.
And then the fact that the edit removes the most crucial scene. So Bruce's story arc isn't resolved.
Nope.
Except for him declaring that he's come to terms with it. I'm both Bruce Wayne and Batman, not because I have to be, but because I choose to be. Like the bit at the end. It's a fucking great... You read that monologue at the end. Bruce facing off against Riddler.
Yeah.
It's a great bit of Batman monologue. Great bit of Batman dialogue. It's fucking great. Where he's like basically saying, I've got a riddle for you and everything. And that bit's amazing. But the payoff of it is undermined by the fact they cut out the scene. Well, two scenes. One Nightmare one where you see that giant bat properly, which is a practical fucking puppet that you see backlit and out of focus in the film, in the final cut.
I would love to see...
Which in itself was, Joel Schumacher said, it was a nod to Man-Bat. He was like, I'm probably not going to do Man-Bat, but I'm going to do a giant scary bat in the Nightmare. And there you go, there's your nod to Man-Bat.
I would love to see a version of the film with this footage properly reinstated.
Because the other bit is he realises why he's repressing the memories.
Yeah.
Because he talks in the film about there's a journal, his father's journal, and they never complete it. Go to the deleted scenes on your home media release. Give it a watch. Bruce's father's diary.
Yeah.
As Bruce found not long after the funeral, so while he was still a child, The last entry was written by Thomas Wayne just before they went to the theatre.
Yeah.
And basically, like, we didn't want it. Something had gone on. Martha wasn't feeling well. Like, Thomas was, the business was, something was going down and it needed all of his attention. But Bruce really wants to go to the theatre tonight.
Yeah.
And it's this notion that as a child he read that and immediately took on the guilt.
Just guilt, yeah.
Like,
guilt,
so
guilt,
part
guilt.
of it isn't... They're changing the mythos slightly, that it's not just like, no, this could never happen to another child. Like, I swear on the night that I will be the terror, that I am the terror that flaps in the night. Like, you know, he basically has become Batman partially to do what we all think he's doing it for, and partially because he feels like it was all his fault that his parents died. What a fucking great angle. We've never seen that before up to that point.
And they fucking slice it out of the movie.
Cut it out of the movie. So it's still kind of victorious at the end where he's like, you know, not because I have to be, but because I choose to be. But it doesn't have that weight of like, no.
Because you've not gone on that proper journey.
Yeah. And it's sort of a shame because I think Kilmer would be remembered more favourably at large by this. I like his bat suits. We get the first nipple one, which is basically, it's the first suit in the movie, and it's a Keaton suit redesigned.
Yeah.
So it's all black, but it's got more anatomical like musculature. So it's like more proper abs, ribs.
Yeah.
It's gone back to the first because we've got hot toys of it somewhere in here. Yeah. So the first film, it's got a sculpt, but it looks like a bulletproof vest size with muscles sculpted in.
Yeah.
Where figure hugging, but still kind of bulky. Whereas Kilmer's one is figure sized. Like it is skin tight.
Spelter.
The musculature's in there. It's got the nips. It's got the Batman Returns bat symbol.
Yes.
And it's all black apart from the yellow of the bat symbol and some yellow on the utility belt.
Yep.
So it's basically them going, it's the same Batman from the last two
Batman.
films, guys. And then obviously throughout the film he gets like different versions. I don't hate them in this.
No.
The toyetic invasion hasn't happened yet, but like the armoured one looks quite cool. There's no reason for him to be wearing it.
No.
But it looks quite cool.
It does look quite cool.
Robin's costume's not too bad. I don't hate his relationship with Robin. I hate the fact that Robin has to be this guy clearly in his late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, like, yeah.
That doesn't work. If you literally aged him down to 18 even, just 18, and you cast someone... Chris O'Donnell's a lot of fun in this movie.
Yeah.
But if you cast somebody who looked 18, it would work
Honestly,
so much better.
I could have done without, if they were going to cut something from this movie, they should have cut the Robin stuff instead of the Bruce Wayne stuff.
Well, again, with the deleted scenes restored, it's more thematic.
Yeah.
Because it's the idea of he's seeing it happen to someone else and it's really tying into his trauma.
Well, it does come across in the final cut, but again, you don't see him...
Junior partner. Like, that's the only reason really he's in it. That and Joel Schumacher was a huge fan of Batman, the television series, so wanted to bring about the Batman and Robin dynamic. And also, Burton wanted Robin. Robin was going to be in 89. He was going to appear very briefly, because obviously we don't spend time with Batman really in 89. So it was going to be this thing of, in one of the set pieces that was cut, and there's a deleted scene on the Blu-rays, go watch it, Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy dub the Batman and Joker in this animatic.
Yep.
Which doesn't fit, obviously, because they're not like Keaton and Nicholson, but whatever. But Robin was going to appear, and at one point it was Marlon Wayans. He was contracted to play the part.
He was cast in Batman Returns, and it was pay or play, so he got paid.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. He got the pay or play because the bit that he was going to be in 89 was cut.
Yeah.
So they were like, we can't. We'll pay for your time, but whatever. But we'll sign you onto the sequel, pay or play. And then when they chose not to use him, he got a payday. So fair enough. I think for me, because you can tell he's trying. Kilmer gets one. He gets one bat here.
Oh, he's one bat here. Yeah,
one bat here.
Totally. Totally one bat here for Kilmer.
Also, most distracting bat lips.
Oh, very distracting bat lips. Speaking about bat lips.
Well,
rubber bat lips.
Well, they're immune to your charms. I think we have to rewind because between Returns and Forever, another cinematic Batman got a release.
Of course.
Le Kevin Conroy. Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Batman.
To capitalise on the popularity of the Batman the Animated Series and Batman Returns coming to theatres, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, probably the greatest Batman movie ever made.
Yeah.
it came to cinemas. It's beautiful. It's fucking stunning. If you've never seen it, go and see it. We won't dwell on it too long because we've got to use the film. We can't really talk about the animated series.
Yeah.
But of course, Kevin Conroy, for a lot of people, is the definitive Batman. He was brought across from the animated series into this animated film because it's set in the animated series canon. If you got the Blu-ray box set of the animated series, it is in there on the last discs. And it's a stunning performance, not just because Conroy, by this point, he'd done like a season, so he nearly a series worth of recording. So he's already well in the head of Bruce Wayne and Batman. But this one is the first Batman movie that's actually about Bruce Wayne. Because even Forever, which we say tries to do more, isn't about Bruce Wayne. He's one of the three main story. Like, Riddler's story arc is just as prominent. Robin's story arc is just as prominent.
Yep.
Like, this one is about Bruce Wayne and no one else. Because it's told Tarantino style, it cuts back and forth in timelines.
In medias res. No.
Yeah, because Batman, present day, a lady he once thought out of his life. She's out of my hair. Andrea Beaumont. Which sounds like such a fucking Batman love interest name.
It's a very Batman love interest name.
Andrea Beaumont comes back, and we keep flashing back to the days that they fell in love. Back when he was sort of starting his training. He'd come back to Gotham.
Yes. So we get a little bit of year one in this as well.
A little bit of year one. But even after this, he sort of, doesn't he bugger off for a bit and then come back again? I think there's a mention where he like keeps travelling. Or he's just come back. Point is...
I think he's just come back and he's starting his crusade.
Yes, because we see him vigilanting it up and failing miserably.
Yeah.
And then when he first tries on the costume, and Alfred, played wonderfully by the late great Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., voicing Alfred, the look of fear on Alfred's face when this thing steps out from the shadows when he first tries on the costume.
Yeah.
And it's an animated Batman. So you're not necessarily going like, oh my god, that's scary. But you feel it through Alfred and the way he's animated.
It's terrifying. His pupils disappear.
But yeah, because it's that whole thing, and his head explodes.
Yeah.
And it's because he's like the little boy.
Yeah.
He's seen grow up is now this thing that's gonna beat the shit out of criminals. And it's like, what the hell is going... It's terrifying.
He's wide across the chest as he was tall as a boy.
But what's wonderful about this is, this story toys with the idea of Batman nearly not going through with it.
Yeah.
Before it begins.
Yeah.
The scene where he's like, he and Andrea are going to basically elope. They're going to leave Gotham and they're going to get away and avoid her, like, father's ties to the mob. And he's going to just like, I'm just going to can it. I've spent the last 15, 20 years training. For what? Oh my god. And then he feels that guilt. He goes to his parents' grave and he pleads with them for forgiveness.
In the rain.
In the rain.
In the thunder.
Because he didn't count on this. He didn't count on being happy. And it's just like, fuck. What a great spin on this.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he gets to tangle with two... obviously the different mob and everything, but like different mobsters and the heads of the crime families. No Rupert Thorne though, but it's because they need him for the show. But like, he gets to tackle two really big bads in this movie.
Yep.
The brand new titular Phantasm
Mm-hmm.
is a frightening presence and really freaking creepy.
Really cool.
And then the third act, oh go on, you can have him. Joker inclusion. Mark Hamill's Joker.
Joker, baby!
Who's hinted at throughout the movie, because one of the enforcers in the flashbacks, set like 10 years ago, what have you, is very clearly the dude who's going to become the Joker.
Well, you get that wonderful moment where Batman's checking the photos, and then he sees him and goes, oh...
Yeah, he puts two and two together. He just sees like this dude stood there, like the
obviously a pre-Joker Joker.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, because the animated series goes with the logic of the 89 film of... Oh, this guy was already a monster.
Yeah.
This just gave him a license to be more creative with it. The chemical accident just gave him a new style.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's creepy. And the fact that then he shows up, you go, of course. Because of course one of the mobsters like runs to him and is like, I need your help. I need, like, you looked after us back then, you can look after us now, I need your help. And the Joker's like, this is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, why not? Like, you've come to me. Yeah, don't mind me. I'm not even with Harley or my gang. I'm just hiding out in a fucking abandoned city of tomorrow, like, future exhibit. My wife is the robot who chops the carrots in the kitchen,
good.
like the animatronic in the kitchen set piece on the ride. It's just like, what is he doing? It's mad and weird, and ends, of course, with the two of them fighting in the model city, like the model Gotham. As it explodes around them. So you basically have Batman and the Joker looking like kaiju-sized monsters towering over a version of Gotham.
It's so good.
It's such a good film. And Conroy is wonderful. Like, he gets to flex every emotional muscle in this one.
Yeah, because not only is he doing his usual sort of dichotomy of Bruce Wayne and Batman, which he does very, very well, especially considering it's a vocal performance only, but he gets to do Bruce and Batman at different points in their life.
Yeah.
And go on that journey, which I think is really well done. It's two Bat-Ears, mate.
Two Bat-Ears.
It's two Bat-Ears.
Conroy. And again, I was just using the film as an example, because we can't use the TV series.
No.
It's still two Bat-Ears. He fucking delivers in this thing. What about Sub-Zero? What about Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond? None of these were in the cinema, shut up. Yep. What about Killing Joke? Doesn't count. It was a limited screening. We're talking about things that had a wide theatrical release. Speaking of...
Batman and Robin.
The year is 1997.
Yes.
Georges Clooney.
Big name.
Is a fucking big name. Now, he's not like movie star big yet. This year, the next year, and the year after solidify that worldwide. But thanks to a little TV show that... Okay, little. It was a global phenomenon called ER. That's the Latin.
Yeah.
Clooney was a household name. He'd done a few bits and pieces, a few films here and there. Probably most significantly From Dusk Till Dawn, like the year before.
From Dusk Till Dawn's very good.
So good, and he's very slick in it. He's slick.
Very, very good in it.
He plays, like, again, plot of From Dusk Till Dawn basically is two really slick Tarantino-esque criminals. So Tarantino-esque that the script's written by him, and Tarantino plays one of the fuckers.
Yeah.
Kidnap a family and go on a road trip. And that's all I'm going to say about that movie. You should go and watch it. But Clooney is like leading man material in that for sure. And remains compelling even when the film changes genre halfway through.
Yes.
Smelly. Anyway,
so good.
Such a great film. So you think, that guy's Batman.
You do.
Do you know what?
What?
I can see it. Is Kilmer not doing it? No, Kilmer and Schumacher had a big falling out, making forever. Okay, yeah, no, do you know what? Fair enough. If we're going to move on, do you know what? I think he'll work. And they're going for a softer vibe for this movie overall. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, bring it on. Clooney doesn't bring his A game to this movie.
He doesn't bring his A game.
Clooney doesn't bring his B game. Clooney fucking looks at the back of his cupboard and finds a half-empty travel Guess Who and goes... With like half the faces missing and a piece from Cluedo just shoved... Colonel Mustard's just shoved into one of the little flip things. Like old Crease, and he's gone, yeah, I'll do.
You know what? I've come around on Batman and Robin in recent years.
Same?
As it is very much a Batman Batman 66 spiritual successor. It becomes a sitcom.
Joel Schumacher goes, what do I love? I love that Batman show I watched growing up. And I love oily, muscular men.
There we go.
There it is, Batman and Robin. Yeah. Like, that's Batman and Robin. That's it.
However,
that is what it is. It's his own personal, like, sexual / childhood dream come true. Like, you can imagine teenage Joel Schumacher conceiving this movie, holding on to it for 30 years and going, oh, fuck it, I'm making it. Like, that's what this is.
However...
And it is funny... intending to be funny.
Yes.
That's the thing everyone forgets about it.
It's supposed to be funny.
Trying to be funny. Does it suck as part of a quadrilogy?
Yes.
When you realise it's the fourth in that series? Absolutely.
It's such a hard snap tonally.
I think we're about to see a bunch of like Star Wars prequels revisionism for the two Schumacher Batman movies. Now that Keaton is basically being solidified as, Batman Returns. Yeah, they're their thing. They're their own thing. And this version of him in The Flash is the same one. Because then it means that the two Schumacher movies are their own thing. Good. Because people might start to go, good. Yeah, this is dumb.
However...
but it's fun. However. Big
George Clooney.
Mm.
Horrifically miscast.
He sleepwalks through this film.
Just doesn't give a fuck. Delivers...
Imagine if they cast Adam West...
Yeah.
but they hadn't checked to see if he could do comedy.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like.
It delivers all the comedy with just leaden, dull, just complete lack of anything.
Why are all the gorgeous
regarding
women homicidal maniacs? What was that delivery? What was that delivery? What does that mean? Like, I mean, I know the line's not a joke in itself, but like, you're obviously meant to play it off as a line that the audience go, "Oh, he knows how to pick 'em, does Batman?" Like,
I don't think he thought it was funny.
True. You think he's playing it straight? Like, he's playing this Batman as an action hero.
Yeah.
It's what a boring action hero.
It's a very boring action hero.
O'Donnell is going for it.
O'Donnell's going for it.
Alicia Silverstone is going for it. She's not good.
She's not good.
She's really not fucking good, but she's going for it.
Uma Thurman is going for it. She's got scenery hanging out of her jaws all the way through this.
It's amazing that she fit in that catsuit from how much scenery she was eating every day.
Arnold Schwarzenegger knows exactly what he's doing.
He swapped out steroids and protein shakes for scenery for the duration of that film. Like, he'd just show up, he'd film his scenes, and then he'd hit the gym for 7 hours.
Yeah. It's just...
They didn't even paint him blue.
No.
He just didn't wear any clothes, like, all the time, and got really cold in the aircon.
But George Clooney just looks like... He just looks out of place in this.
It's so
He looks
weird.
lost.
It's bizarre. I can't think of a moment where he's legit great in it. I can't think of a moment where he's good in it. Like, there's just...
No.
There's nothing. And also, it's weird because it's like, okay, so Clooney was known as a great romantic lead, like, because of ER.
Yeah.
Right? What's the name of the lady he's with for a couple scenes? Because they just imply that Bruce is in a long-term relationship with this lady, but they're on the cusp of... He's always sort of holding her at arm's length a little bit because he's on the cusp of having to go, okay, so I'm Batman. Like, but they don't really play into it much. They have no chemistry.
We don't really get a sense of their relationship.
Like, just... I don't... Like, he does a lot of understated emotional work in it. Like, the plot in this movie includes Alfred dying of a rare disease.
Yeah.
Or he's going to die of a rare disease. And there's a scene where it's just Bruce Wayne and Alfred. And Goff is... Because, again, Goff is consistent. He's Alfred in all 4 movies.
Yeah. He's the through line.
He's working his arse off. Even if for this one he's laying in bed for most of it. And, like... The scene where, like, the I love you, old man scene is sweet. And for a moment, I buy that that's the same Batman we've watched for 3 films.
But it feels like it's from a different film. It feels out of place.
Yeah, because then the next scene, he's just back to, like, so what do we know about that? And also, it's got 5th Doctor syndrome for me, where basically your cast are arguing for the whole film.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, like, Poison Ivy, and it's based on sort of like Poison Ivy's first ever comic book appearance.
Yeah.
Where, like, Batman and Robin fight over her because they've sort of been, like, you know, bewitched by her chemicals.
Mm.
And that's a through line through a lot of this, is, like, Robin's sort of like, I'm going to fucking, you know, I'm going to go and be my own superhero. Like, fuck you. Like, I should get all the girls and all this. And you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
I'm going to say it, Chris. I'm going to say it.
2 ears down. No ears.
No ears.
No ears. Yeah, Clooney's a no ears. And the thing is, power to Clooney, great actor.
In everything else.
In everything else. And has owned up to this one.
Yeah.
Like, he joked about it at a Comic-Con panel a few years ago. He said, yeah, I'm really sorry that I killed Batman.
Yeah.
Because
he's awful in this.
Because this did kill it. Warner Brothers went,
nearly a decade.
We're not touching this. There's pre-production for a year on Batman Dark Knight, all one word.
There's loads
Batman
of
Triumphant.
Yeah, there's loads of different names that have been bandied around for it.
Yeah, and at one point Clooney was going to stick around. At one point Keaton was going to return. Robin was going to become Nightwing. There was going to be one version where the Scarecrow was the villain. There was going to be another version where Scarecrow and Harley Quinn were the villains. This time Harley Quinn being the
Joker's daughter.
Yeah, the estranged daughter of Jack Napier from the first one. And contracts were drawn up with Jack Nicholson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Danny DeVito, and Tommy Lee Jones to reprise their roles. Oh, and Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Who Poison Ivy dies off screen at the end of Batman and Robin. We don't see it. She's left in Freeze's cell, and Freeze is basically by the guards of Arkham, bit dodgy, given his power suit to basically kill Poison Ivy.
Very fucking dark.
I guess they just ran out of room that week, and they're like, "Oh, let one of them kill the other one." He's got a bone to pick with her because she pulled the plug on his wife, so yeah, you can kill her. But like, so basically, all the actors who played the villains in the films that had died, well, Catwoman obviously was like alleged, like she's at the end of Batman Returns, like, oh, she's alive, but we never see her again. So they were going to get all the villains essentially to appear in a fear gas sequence that would have been like the third act, based loosely on the animated series episode The Trial. Because they talk about this in the documentaries on the Batman and Robin Blu-ray collection. That was a scene that was going to be in one of these films, and you're like, okay, all right, okay. But never happened. It did, however, result in the next iteration of the Bat franchise. We've talked at length about these 3 movies in episodes you can go back and listen to from a year and a half ago.
It's true.
We have thoughts. I think we both like Batman Begins. Really like The Dark Knight.
Although I like The Dark Knight less every time I watch it now.
Yeah, which is fair game. Fair point. And I think we're not mad, we're just disappointed at The Dark Knight Rises.
It's just a mess, isn't it?
It's shitty. It's a shit film.
No good.
It's a shit film that's really well made.
It's a shit film dressed up as a good film, which is, when you watch a Christopher Nolan film, you never know which one of those you're going to get.
Yeah. But Christian Bale. We finally have a Batman who is the star of the franchise.
However.
Like, it's actually about him. Howevs.
Too fucking serious, man.
As a Batman?
Yeah.
I mean, not so much in Begins. I mean, justifiably in the first, like, half of the film, where it's intercutting between, like, before he goes for his training, going for his training, and coming back to Gotham. Like, fair enough, because it's trying to sell the weight of what would push a young man to go to this length. And I think the idea of him sticking around into it's meant to be like late teens, isn't it? But it's Christian Bale with a mop of hair. But sure,
reuse
whatever.
some footage from Newsies.
But like, the idea of him sticking around that late and trying to like contemplating killing Joe Chill after the trial.
Yeah, it's not bad.
After the parole. And that being like Rachel's like involvement in that conversation being the thing that pushes him to go, I need to do this differently.
Yeah.
And that's what pushes him to go and become Batman. Is a different take on it. Like, normally it's from a young age he makes the decision that he's going to train, and then as he grows older he develops the idea. Here it's like, no, he gets older and then gets fucking embarrassed in front of everyone and his best mate, and he makes a decision.
Yeah.
Like, she bollocking him in that moment, like she bollocking him for having the gun in his coat. And again, Katie Holmes does a great job in that film. Is the bat flying through the window moment of the Nolan trilogy. Yeah. And it works fine. The latter half is a little more jokey as he's trying to sort of probe Lucius to help out without giving away the game immediately. And then the humour for him is present a lot more in the second one. But by that point, the tone overall is the first one was really successful. This has got to be serious.
Yeah, they just get bleaker and it's just less interesting as the series goes on. And particularly in Dark Knight Rises, Batman is just so dull.
Well, that's the thing. As a performance, I think Bale is great in the 3 films. I don't care much for that Batman. I don't buy that the Batman that would spend the first 20-odd years of his life going through the psychological torment and then training his body and mind and, the Blue Flower and the League of Shadows and all this. I don't believe for a second that the Batman the kid who lost his parents who became Batman as a result would lose his sort of girlfriend, childhood best friend and then retire for 8 years.
No.
I also hate the idea that his Batman is Batman in that universe for less than 2 years.
It's just it's just disappointing.
It's weird. Let's say, I'm sorry, Bruce becomes a recluse for 8 years.
I don't buy it.
For 8 years? Like, what? And then the city builds a statue to him? Like, what? That's not Batman.
It's not Batman.
And I know different interpretations, but like, Adam West's Batman wouldn't fucking retire for 8 years.
No, he wouldn't.
He'd double down to save lives. Like, think of all the lives that have been lost because he wasn't on watch.
It's the fact that there's something very selfish about Christian Bale's Batman. He's doing it for him. And
it feels like that in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises in particular.
He couches it in doing things for the people of Gotham, but really he's doing it for his own satisfaction.
Yeah, and not like not to repent.
No.
But because he's like, I'm good at this.
He gets his jollies.
Rachel will understand. Yeah. She'll understand eventually.
He gets his jollies from beating up bad guys.
Yeah.
Not from actually fixing the problem.
Yeah.
Which is fine if you don't pretend that is what... that isn't the case.
Yeah.
Which things like Batman 89 don't pretend that it isn't the case. They don't go into it and are better for it.
As a Batman that's anchored a little bit more in a realistic take as far as like the tech and the interpretation goes, I don't think it's a bad job. I quite like the bat suits for that version. I prefer the Begins one with the bulky fucking neck and everything. I think I know production wise that's not the one they wanted.
Yeah.
But they ran out of money to make it work in that department and went, we'll do it in the sequel. And then they do. And I also like the fact that they stick to their guns and it's the same suit in 2 and 3 because not many of these franchises do that. Like Captain America and the MCU's have like 17 variations of costume. 10 of them look the same, but you look close and you go, oh, they've changed that. I know they've tweaked. Even Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, the suit's different in all 3 films.
Yeah.
Subtly, but it's different. And it's like, what? Why? So I kind of admire the fact that the Dark Knight Rises goes, they're just going to wear the same suit.
Yeah.
And we're going to see him choose that suit after having worked in the other one for a year and a bit or whatever.
Yeah.
And make the decision, this isn't practical really. Lucius, I want to be able to turn my fucking head. Which is a nice fun meta joke about all the costumes before this. But Keaton didn't wuss out on that. He turned his goddamn head. He turned his goddamn body.
For me, when you say it's a more grounded and realistic take on Batman, what I hear is it's a boring take on Batman.
No, I mean, like, if they're going to go for that thingy, I think the interpretation of it is admirable. Like, they find a way...
Yeah, like, I just also think it's inherently less interesting.
Fair enough. But I can see what they went for. Like, the Batarangs, this is the first movie where you sort of see, oh, this is why he does this.
Yeah.
Because it's the shurikens, it's the ninja star thing, and you see it's like his take on them, and you see him welding them himself in the early days of the cave, and like, you know, you can see that he's going... And the whole idea of how do we make sure we're not traced, like all the equipment? Well, we buy it from different companies worldwide, get it delivered to different Wayne whatevers, and get them shipped to here. And then Bruce, with assistance from Alfred, builds them himself. Yeah. It's like, fair enough. Which, you know, we know he does, but it's cool to see it. We don't get a lot of the trappings of Batman, though, that are fun. Like, the Batcave features so briefly, and it's just basically a cavern with a computer bank in it.
Yeah.
Instead of a big gothic like structure like in the 89 one or the neon techno dream of the Schumacher ones. Yeah.
It's just
no. I don't hate supporting cast. In fact, I like them a lot, especially Lucius Fox, Alfred. Finally, we get, in terms of a series, a Gordon that's given their due. Like, Oldman as Gordon is great, and his interplay off of Batman and the scenes they have together works quite nicely, because it's that whole keeping him at arm's length approach of you know, I shouldn't really be talking to you, but you can help us out here. And it has that great scene at the start of The Dark Knight where, like, they bring in Harvey Dent to be like, we're going to have a meeting with you. And he's like, I've got to tell you a piece of my mind. And the giant guy, the rubber outfit, is like, shut the fuck up. Like, we're working together. I'm not worried for you.
It's the Bat voice, again.
But it's not in Batman Begins. That's the weirdest thing. He only does it in the second and third one. I like the portrayal of Bruce Wayne's public persona. Yep. It's the closest one to the animated series take on the character and the 60s take on the character, where it's like, yeah, he's going to be out, he's going to schmooze, he's going to have very public relationships and flings, and, I'm just going to buy this place on a whim because the staff treated me like shit for my model girlfriend's walking in the fountain, so don't worry, I own the place. And all this stuff, it's like, sure, okay, because that's the first film that acknowledges that he does this so that the world thinks of Bruce Wayne as one thing.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, he's off doing the other thing.
Yeah.
It's also one where he very openly is like, Batman Bruce Wayne is one person.
Yeah.
It's just how he presents to people in the room is what makes the difference. I also like when he is accidentally Bruce Wayne in front of people, like when he's knackered in the dark, like when he's knackered in the Dark Knight and sleeps through the stock meeting.
Yeah,
like that is great. That stuff's really sort of, I like that. That's fun. That's got a bit more of a sense of humour to it in its execution. The same time, I feel like the portrayal of Batman here from Bale and the films themselves and their success. And again, we've talked about it. Like, I really like The Dark Knight. I know you sour a bit more on it as time goes by, but like, I really like The Dark Knight. Even so, the success of this take has cursed the franchise.
Yeah,
it cursed superhero movies a bit.
Yeah.
So that every decision Warner Brothers and other studios made for a long time was how to make it gritty like The Dark Knight, how to make it realistic like Batman Begins. And that tainted the genre overall for a while. And the effects are still being felt in the Warner Brothers stuff sometimes to this day.
Yeah.
Whether you like or love or hate or don't give a shit about like the Snyder take on the DCEU, a lot of it being there, a lot of him being hired in the first place isn't because of his unique vision, unquote. It's because they wanted someone who'd be dark like the Nolan films.
Yeah.
That's why they wanted it. And
again,
that's why we got Man of Steel, which is a Nolan-produced movie that takes Superman, and again, a lot of people love it, great, wish I did, drains all of the colour out of it.
Like, again, when you say dark, what I hear is boring. Like, dull.
I give Bale one ear.
One ear up.
I don't think it's his fault. I'm rating him here. I'm not rating him higher. Not because of him.
It's not. It's like with Kilmer. Like, you can see where he's going for.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think. And the same as it was with me with West. I see what he's going for. I just don't particularly care for it.
Adam Wee.
However,
we got another Batman, cinematic Batman.
Now this is a tricky one.
In 2015. As a supporting player in another movie. You jumped the gun. This Batman then reappears in 2017 in his own motion picture. Will Arnett as Lego Batman.
Love it.
Now, if he'd just been in the Lego movie, wouldn't have counted him. Because it's just a fun comedy.
But he's had a Lego Batman movie.
But then he had a movie of his own.
Yes.
Which is a Batman film.
Yes.
Is one of the few Batman movies that really just fucking gets Batman at its core.
This is how you do a modern take on the sitcom setup of Batman 66.
Yes. It is irreverent, it is flippant, it is facetious.
Yes, very facetious.
It is self-mocking, it is meta, but it's also heartfelt as fuck.
Yeah.
Every single character, off the top of my head, someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but every single character behaves like the core of that character.
Yes.
In the original material, in other adaptations. Like, yeah, a lot of Batman's Rogues Gallery are sidekicks and henchmen in this to the scheme that's going on. I'm talking about the ones who have roles.
Yes.
I'm talking about Alfred.
Yes.
I'm talking about Harley Quinn.
Yes.
I'm talking about Robin.
Yes.
Obviously, Robin's very heavily retooled, but it's sort of relying on the public's perception of Robin outside of comic readers being, Robin's fucking stupid. This film goes, all right, okay, we'll meet you halfway. He's a really dorky, super optimistic kid from the orphanage. He's already been orphaned, and Bruce doesn't even see the connection immediately because he's just being annoyed by this kid. We'll do it. We'll do it that way. Let's go for it. I'm talking Batgirl. It's a nice take on Batgirl where they go, do you know what? Fuck it. In this version, Gordon's retiring.
Yep.
Barbara Gordon's the new commissioner.
Yep.
And she'll become Batgirl. Not sure how she's going to balance those two jobs. But, going forward, but it's a kid's film about Lego characters. So
exactly.
And especially the Joker and Batman. Zach Galifianakis and Will Arnett as the Joker and Batman, respectively, deliver the most fun performance of those characters in a film.
Yes.
Because they are... Batman is a mockery of Batman that's done properly. It's looking inwards. It's the franchise going, got a bit too self-serious, didn't we? We should play on that.
Yes.
And it does it. And it goes for 12 years after Batman Begins sets a template. This movie goes, yeah, fuck that. Like, this is stupid, isn't it? Meanwhile, the live-action one that's running concurrently is being overly serious. And it's just like, this is great. And the Joker. It's the first movie where Batman does a great interpretation of it, 89. The Dark Knight hints at this existing mythology, because comics are the modern mythology. American comics are the one... American superhero comics are the one true American export, and they are the modern...
Well,
the
yeah,
modern Greek gods.
it's America's mythology. It is America's mythology.
It's the Greek gods of the 20th and 21st centuries. Like, people there going, what about the statue? The fucking whole society's built on religion. It's like, no, but think about it. Look at the evolution of it and what it is. People cover them. People create images of them and effigies of them.
Yeah.
We listen to their stories and their great tales of heroism and daring do and, persisting
and they repeat
through
the
horrid odds.
cyclical.
The cyclical, exactly. They are the modern Greek mythology.
Yeah.
And, Dark Knight hints at that idea.
Yeah.
With the way the Joker instantly is taken by Batman. He's like, yeah, I'll kill him. He's an obstacle. We'll get rid of him. And he's like, actually, do you know what? This is pretty fucking fun.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, he's like, you and I are destined to do this forever. And he was going to be in the third movie as a minor character, but he was going to be in there. And it was like, what a great idea. This movie's a movie about that relationship.
Yeah.
And about how they kind of need each other.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this Joker, when he murders people, it's Lego figures going, oh no, and falling apart. Like, they're not murdered, and they still go like, I'm okay, and things like that afterwards.
Yeah.
But, it's a film where they're basically going, we are literally two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us both feel more fulfilled and special.
Yes.
Which, obviously, when you take that into the realism of other movie adaptations, or you take it into the logic of the comics, that's a really twisted notion. It's like, oh my god, one doesn't exist without the other. This crazy clown's going to keep murdering people and poisoning the fucking water supply as long as this guy dressed as a bat is out there to stop him.
Yep.
And as long as this guy's dressed as a bat, this clown's going to go, that's fun, I'm going to mess with that.
Yeah.
This film takes the idea of, but we all enjoy those stories as consumers. Let's take an affectionate look at it.
Yeah.
The scene at the beginning where Batman basically breaks up with the Joker in a way that suggests they were never a thing. Like, you mean nothing to me. And the Joker actually getting, sad about it is such a fucking brilliant scene.
Yeah.
It's so good. Will Arnett is funny. He encapsulates everything that people think is cool about Batman, even if he's mocking it by doing it.
Oh,
the delivery.
and he is.
But he does it. You could take the dialogue, obviously not certain lines. No, I don't want it. And all that sort of stuff. Don't say that. But take other lines. Put it over another bit of Batman footage from a DC straight-to-DVD movie or whatever.
Yes.
And he'd be like, he's doing the Batman things. He's doing them.
Yes.
He's also, if we're talking about just ability of that Batman, this Batman defeats Daleks, Gremlins, the Wicked Witch of the West, the Eye of Sauron, the Kraken. He gets shit done. He gets shit. Forget Batman's Rogues Gallery. He defeats some of the most powerful villains in cinema. So he's got the track record. He's got the chops, and he does it with fucking teamwork, like Batman very rarely does in his adaptations.
Yep.
The Bat Family. How he defeats everybody and saves the day. So, fuck, where we're recording in the office, there was a shelf with a bunch of Batman-related movie things on it.
Yes.
Lego Batman and Lego Joker at their fucking computer. They are there on that shelf. Because they absolutely deserve to be on that shelf.
Because it's very good.
Two very block-shaped bat ears up for me.
Yeah,
two.
I love the Lego Batman movie. Two bat ears up.
Take us back to 2016, Matthew. Take us back to the most, as of this recording, on the 1st of March, before the 4th, the most recent cinematic adaptation of the Batman character.
Right, so, here's the difficult one, because this is a tough one for me.
It's tough for me in a way, because I feel the potential here is the thing that I'm most sad about.
I actually like a lot of what Ben Affleck does with the older, sort of retired, more jaded Batman. However,
we don't have the younger version to compare it with.
Yeah.
We never get that comparison. We never get to see what has been lost by him taking this
Which
turn.
I don't necessarily think is a bad thing, because
the film's sort of assuming that you as a pop cultural landscape know what he should be like. Yet the last film with him in, prior to Batman v Superman Dawn of Jaundice, was the Dark Knight Dark Knight Rises,
Yeah.
where he's retired and jaded because he fucked up, and it's the Avi Arad of Warner Brothers, where they're sort of like obsessed
with Dark
the Dark Knight Returns as a template.
But I think this is a decent attempt at doing that, and I think
I just wish we could have seen the version of Batfleck that deals with wind-up exploding penguins.
But that's not what they were ever going to do.
The Batfleck that, according to Peacemaker, has met Batmite.
I don't...
Yeah. I'm not saying give him big fantastical adventures. I'm saying show me the Batman before the fall from grace.
But I don't think we necessarily need that for this to be a good Batman. However...
Oh, no, agreed. But to sort of see why he's the way he is, you kind of need to tell us what he was like before. And none of them. I mean, maybe Zack Snyder's Justice League fills in more of these gaps. You can tell me, but
not really.
But like, all we know is, and no one ever says it. All we know is, he had a Robin.
Yeah.
That Robin was killed.
Yeah.
According to the subtitles in their character bio page in Suicide Squad from 2016, the Joker and Harley Quinn killed Robin, or Harley Quinn was present when the Joker killed Robin. Like she is down as being an accomplice to the murder of Robin.
Yes.
So we've got that, and then in the final epilogue before talking to Martian Manhunter in Zack Snyder's Justice League, Nightmare alternate possible future Joker makes again a joke about sending a boy wonder to do a man's job. So it's just. He's really egging the point of I ruined your life. So I get that. But we never see what was lost.
No.
We never see what that Batman was like. And I almost wonder if instead of opening Batman v Superman with another fucking adaptation of the Wayne's murder, the one which I hate the most because it's the one where Thomas Wayne is like, he's not pussy, bro. He's gonna punch Joe Chill. He's gonna punch him in the face, which results in him shooting them. But like Joe Chill kills the Waynes because Thomas stands up to him physically, instead of every other adaptation where he's like, now listen, we can talk about this. You don't have to do it. And he's trying to reason with him, and he's not pleading or begging. He's just trying to reason with him. He's like, leave my wife and child out of this. If you want me to give you anything, other versions have always gone that angle of Thomas Wayne trying to protect his family. Because here's the thing, you don't have to protect them by punching the dude in the face, which is what then leads to him shooting both him and Martha.
Yeah.
I find it weird that people romanticize the Batman v Superman version of the Wayne's death, when really it's the stupidest version.
It is the stupidest version.
Instead of having that scene open Batman v Superman, have a scene set 10 years ago with Batman, maybe post Robin's death still, but Batman in his prime, doing whatever. Show us that, and then you fucking hard cut to present day Bruce Wayne, looking at the uniform of Robin. Oh my god, Snyder was never going to do this. He was never going to do it. But show us that Batman and his Robin kicking ass and taking names and fucking storming it and being amazing. Still dark and scary or whatever. Having been a warehouse or whatever, kicking back criminals' asses. But have them being incredible. A kick-ass scene where these two are a team. They are one entity. They are saving lives. They are kicking the shit out of bad guys and putting them away. And then you fucking hard cut to Bruce 10 years later staring at the empty suit of armour with the graffiti on it in the case. Because then immediately you as a viewer go, oh my god, what happened? And you have that understanding of why he's broken. You get it. You feel it instead of having to interpret it from a moment where he looks at a suit in a case halfway through the film.
Yeah.
That in turn would then, to me, solidify Batfleck as a more definitive Batman, because you would see, here's what happens when he is the version you all kind of imagine him to be, and now you have to deal with the Batman he's forced to become because of his emotional baggage, because of his stubbornness to actually let people in. You know what I mean? It's like The Dark Knight Returns as a book got away with not really doing that too much, showing us what was lost, because it was coming in after 30, 40, 50 years of pop culture knowing what Batman and Robin was.
Yeah.
So then this book comes along and you go, that book is the, oh my God, what's happened? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas this Batman, we've never seen that. We've never seen the DCEU Batman back when he was apparently Batmaning around. Black Adam is set seemingly present day, or at least near present day in the present day set stuff for a film that's coming out. Could you imagine if they did a bit of that legwork and they set it in like the 90s? And as part of that world, we briefly see or hear of the exploits of the Batman and Robin, and them kicking ass and taking names and like turning Gotham around. That would at least then, in that universe, lend something to the Affleck interpretation. Now, that being said, that's all hypothesizing and me complaining about why I don't give a shit about this Batman. Why does he work for you? Why is he a Batman that makes you go, now? Actually,
because I got all the stuff that you just complained about not being present.
Yeah.
From implication.
Yeah. So you don't. That's what I'm saying is you don't mind the backstory being something that's in your head.
No. Well, is it because it's not in my head? It's in
that's yeah. Oh no, yeah. But I mean, like
it's,
you put the pieces together from what they give you.
Yeah.
For me, I wish it was more visceral, because this Batman, we see him be visceral throughout that film.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think they're consistent with it.
Oh God, no!
Certainly not in Justice League.
The fact that by the end of Batman v Superman, he's like, "I was wrong," and then Justice League, either interpretation, obviously one more flippant than the other, but like either interpretation is suddenly like, "We're a team. Let's get a team together. There's a big threat, but it's okay. I'll work with you."
Yeah,
when we've spent a whole film going, "I hate anyone who's different."
It makes more sense. It makes more sense in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a more palatable continuation to the point where there is now a Blu-ray set out called. Something like Zack Snyder's Justice League: The Collection, and it's Man of Steel, the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman, and this Zack Snyder's Justice League on home media release.
So that's like
So they've now gone. If you want it to make a bit more thematic sense overall, here's the three of them in a set. Everybody.
It will make more sense. But yeah, it's not consistent. By the time Justice League rolls around, you can see that Affleck's heart isn't in it, and that I think even in Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I mean, so it's
working on Justice League was definitely the final twist of the knife that made him go, "Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm finished with this."
Which has got to be horrible to get your dream job and then it be shit.
But in the press tour, famously of BVS, he's done. Yeah. He's so done.
Yeah,
and it's we now know that was due to a lot of personal problems and everything, but the fact that it starts to show up, in both versions of the Justice League,
because he saw what happened, he saw what they made.
Yeah,
he saw what he had made, and he knew it was bad.
Man,
and so
bad man.
So yeah,
like the only time I remember watching Batfleck's Batman and going, all right, like sort of going, yeah, I buy this, is the post-credit scene of Suicide Squad. This is for me personally, having only seen the theatrical cuts of those movies.
Yeah.
Like, the post-credit scene of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Where it's him and Waller. Yeah. And Waller basically makes it clear to him, like, I know who you are. And he goes, and I will fucking shut you down. And it's just this like, checkmate moment of, like, impossible, immovable, unstoppable force and immovable object meeting. And it's great because it lends a lot more weight to that version of Amanda Waller, who's skinny. She's really eat something. Like, it lends more weight to that, and it builds that world in a nice way.
Yeah.
At the end of a film that's fucking awful, like Suicide Squad is terrible, but like at least in that post-credit scene you go, okay, all right, I can see where this could be going. And Affleck brings it, and I'm like, yeah, I buy that. That's the Batman on the job, pretending to be Bruce Wayne, but knowing that he doesn't have to completely pretend with this person. It's like, great. I don't feel like his heart was in it in the cinematic cut of Justice League. You telling me that the Snyder cut is similarly still just not quite better? Would you say that that's in throughout the film in general, or is it in the scenes that were shot for Zack Snyder's Justice League? Because he was one of the actors who came back to shoot some stuff for it in 2020.
I think when the prologue, the epilogue with Martian Manhunter and the nightmare stuff, that's just a mess.
Yeah. Is he not shining it particularly?
He doesn't shine it particularly. Like,
I have seen the nightmare scene.
Yeah.
From the end of it, and I'm like, it's
fine.
All right. That's how I'd spell the word shite, but fair enough.
Well, I mean,
it's cool. It's something that Zack Snyder does well. It's very visually cool. Like, look at Deathstroke's post-apocalyptic outfit. That looks cool.
Oh yeah, the team.
Yeah,
looks fucking awesome.
Look at Joker in that outfit. What's he doing? That's weird. That looks cool. Shame it's Jared Leto.
Yeah.
Batman's Nightmare outfit. All right, looks cool. Fair enough. Whatever. I mean, if everyone knows it's Bruce Wayne by this point, why is he fucking bothering?
Because he's not Bruce Wayne. He's Batman, and that's his face.
Batman. Yeah, just. I mourn the Batman that Batfleck could have been. As a fan of the character, I can see that passion in the interviews and everything prior to the film, and knowing how much Affleck took Daredevil because he wanted to be Batman.
Yeah,
and he thought if he did Daredevil, he could prove himself in that genre, and that then he could be considered in the future for Batman.
I really desperately want to give Batfleck one by ear, but I can't. They're just not good.
Yeah.
It's just not good enough.
Now, so we're both giving him no bat ears.
I have to. It's just not good enough. And
you know, not for lack of trying, but like he's not really given a chance to shine.
He's too big.
He's
too like. I get that you want your Batman to be fucking jacked. But you just have that moment
he's
where...
not creeping around in the shadows in the corner of the room.
Because you get that moment in BVS where the cop shines the light in the corner and he's there hanging and it just looks wrong. It doesn't look right.
Does it look good for a warehouse scene where he's beating the fuck out of everybody? Sure.
Yeah, it looks good.
Sure, it looks good. Fine. Like, the standoff against KG Beast? Sure.
Yeah.
Fine. I mean, taking a bit of a risk, aren't you? And it's the whole thing of like, when people go, but Keaton's Batman kills, it's like, yeah, but so does Batfleck.
Yeah.
He fucking murders people left and right and centre in BVS. And again, don't mind it if it means that someone else's life is at risk, but you tell me that Mark Kent's life is not at more risk when he blows up KG Beast's fucking flamethrower tank?
It's true.
Very weird.
It's true.
I don't hate the suit, and then I see it in motion.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it?
Like, Keaton is stiff and stilted, but it sort of works because of the way it's shot, the way he physically presents himself. Affleck, I can't remember who described him as this once, but they said that it looks like Affleck in BVS looks like someone squeezed a gorilla into a diving suit. It doesn't look comfortable.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't look comfortable.
Like, Keaton doesn't look comfortable, but he doesn't look uncomfortable.
Yes.
So it doesn't distract you. Batfleck looks uncomfortable in that costume.
Yeah.
I think the Justice League alterations help, because it's definitely been streamlined a little, and then the semi-armoured version in Justice League looks way better. And it's not changed that much. It's just little tweaks here and there, that make it look a bit more manoeuvrable and a bit more like, oh, of course he looks uncomfortable. He's wearing body armor. Fine, sure, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we would be giving him at least one ear up had we lived to see Ben Affleck's The Batman.
I reckon so. Because I just think
I do mourn that movie. I mourn that film. It would have been incredible to at least see it. Whether it would have been good or not, obviously, we'll never know. But, like, Ben Affleck directing and co-writing with Chris Terrio a Batman movie of his very own, where he's also playing Batman. And I think they said as well, like, it was never clarified whether it was set pre-BVS or post.
I imagine there was versions of the script that were both.
Well, the teaser end credit sting for Justice League, theatrically anyway, suggests that it would have been following that because, of course, Luthor hires Deathstroke to like work with him.
Yes, of course.
And Deathstroke was the villain of Affleck's Batman movie.
God, I didn't know anywhere, did it?
Poor Joe Manganiello. Oh my god! But like a
fuss.
Batman movie about him dealing with assassins, sort of a Batman Arkham Origins style, with Deathstroke being the main antagonist. Yes. That would have been Affleck's Batman against Deathstroke. That would have been a compelling and interesting experience. And I think had we seen that, we would be giving him at least one ear up.
But I can't with the stuff that's on display here. I can't do it.
Is he worse than Clooney?
No,
as a Batman.
No, because he at least tries.
Yeah, agreed.
At least he tries.
Like, and I really, a lot of my problems with BVS are various factors. It's not Batman. Batman's just a casualty of it for me as a result.
Yeah. I think there's more good
to Affleck's interpretation
than there is necessarily bad. It's just that it's mired in bad projects.
Yeah. And compromised projects and projects.
Yes.
Directed by a fucking slime ball and you know, like, and then projects directed by a director who it seems is not a slime ball as a human being, but Zack Snyder I'm talking about here, just to clarify. Yeah. But at the same time, like, I don't think Zack Snyder's a good storyteller. I think he's a great visual storyteller. Yeah. I don't think he should co-write scripts, and I don't think he should have the say on, like, final says on the story or whatever. I think he should be part of the story conception, but I think other people should write the scripts for the films he then directs. I really do think that.
An immaculate conception.
Because I talked about it for Army of the Dead. Like, I don't think it was particularly remarkable, but I liked some really cool ideas and visuals in it. I thought the script was awful. And he wrote it. And I'm like, yeah, I buy that. Like, 300 is a visually stunning experience.
But all the narrative from it comes from Frank Miller's comic.
Yeah.
He's just making it. Same with Watchmen.
It's just, yeah, same with Watchmen. And it's yeah, this Batman never stood a chance for me.
You give him something original, you give Zack Snyder free reign where he's not adapted anything, you get Sucker Punch. Which is dog shit.
Yeah. This Batman, I think, could have shone once it was under someone else's eye for at least one go.
Well done.
Patty Jenkins, like, the first Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Say what you like about Wonder Woman 84, and I will, it's shit. But, like, the first Wonder Woman is great and brings the best out of Godot. Yeah. Snyder does not bring anything out of Godot.
No.
In either of his films where he's directed her.
No.
Justice League. I mean, maybe
better in Zack Snyder's.
Maybe this, yeah.
Better in Zack Snyder's.
I mean, she would be.
Everything is better in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, for fuck's sake.
Look at everything that was in Joss Whedon's Justice League, and then just imagine it better.
Okay, but does she have the same shine and sort of sparkle in Zack Snyder's Justice League that she has in Wonder Woman?
No. Fair, which is fair. Yeah.
So I think what I'm saying is I think that we missed out on a Batman for Affleck's Batman in a similar sense, where, like, I don't care very much for the version of him we see in the two versions of the films, you know, the BVS and Justice League that I've watched, and even you, who, you know, has said, like, you really like Zack Snyder's Justice League as an experiment, and there's stuff in it that you really like.
Yes.
There's stuff you're not fussed about, there's stuff you really enjoy in it, and it's a better experience overall. Even that, you are still saying that he gets no ears.
Yeah.
Had he got a Wonder Woman like Wonder Woman got, maybe we'd be saying something different.
Quite possibly.
Rob Bat.
Who could say?
We'll say next week.
Dolly.
We will say next week with our whole chest. We got time for some emails? Was them out quickly?
No, we haven't got time for emails.
We do not have time for emails. We will get to them next week. Oh god, you have to see what time it is. We'll get to them next week. We'll open next week with your emails, folks, and then we'll be reviewing the Batman. So if you see the Batman between now and when we record, which will probably be Monday, Tuesday.
Probably.
More likely Monday at the moment. I'll keep you posted.
Keep me posted.
Live production. Live production meetings. Email us bigdamcontact@gmail.com.
Yeah, we'll get to them eventually.
You can also finger our wares on the social medias at BigDamnCast on Twitter. And you can keep the lights on at patreon.com/BigDamnCast. Despite the ominous countdown, there is something worth supporting for.
Yes.
You just got to be patient. Till next time. Same bat time.
Same bat channel.
Oh no, that's the Fat Man Beyond slogan at the end of the episode. We can't use that. We can't nick that. What we can say is 297 down.
3 to go.
Oh. Old chum.
Look at this cat.
Yeah, the cat's just melting into the carpet. They can't see this.